The most spontaneous.
Hi, how are you? Welcome to Effortless Being, where it takes no effort just to be. Finally, nice to get a hold of you and connect.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm always happy to talk to people about self-realization and effortless being and whatever you want to talk about.
Perfect. That's what this channel is all about. The name of the channel is Effortless Being, and it's about people. There's a lot. The audience on here, just so you know, is like people that are seeking, and then there's some also on here that are self-realized, and they're just like integrating it into their
Mm.
everyday life. So that's kind of like the audience that's subscribes to this channel. So we can keep that in mind when we're talking and things like that. But I just kind of just want to get to know you. So where are you from? Just to let my audience know where you're from and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I'm originally Russian. Yeah, I was born in Ukraine, but I'm Russian by blood, and like international by heart.
I love that.
So yeah, and I live in Spain. I've lived for 12 years already,
Well, you like it
almost.
there?
I do. Yeah, it has its different sides, but it has to be like that. In the world of duality, it's like
Yeah,
this.
that's true.
So I'm fine with that. I like it there. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I saw your interview on David Bingham's channel. It resonated. And maybe you just talk a little bit about what led up to your calling David and the self-realization and kind of like your seeking journey and your spiritual background. Just let the audience know something about
Yeah. Well, it's been 3 years, almost 3 years since it happened.
that. Okay.
And it's interesting that I just start forgetting things because I don't know, like I disconnect from, like
I know. I do the same thing. Trust me. You're not the only one.
yeah,
I do
yeah,
it.
I
It's
really
normal. It's
you
totally
too.
normal.
Yeah, but like I've been experiencing like just a rather intense dissociation from my body,
Uh-huh.
and my body doesn't seem to like it at all. So it's such a mess now. But well, so I've always been interested in spirituality in different forms and shapes or
Yeah.
whatever you can call it. But I think my active search started when I experienced really dramatic events in terms of my relationship, my personal romantic relationship. And I always looked for being accepted, understood, heard, loved, something that I lack, yeah, like from like lacked from my parents. And when I understood that another relationship was not working,
Yeah.
like looking for love in the wrong places. Yeah,
Give a love
this
in
is
all the
how.
wrong places. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, this is the same. I understood that probably it's about me to start with because I used to blame others
Hmm.
for the problems we were having, and well, let's start with you. And I got depressed, and then COVID also happened, and I thought, oh, what a nice period of time. Like it's time to, dive deep and see what happens. And I actually wanted to die. I went super suicidal. But finally, I thought since I have nothing to lose, I could explore some stuff like
Yeah, sure.
spirituality related. And I started reading Eckhart Tolle. But I think the first book I read is by a Russian writer, reality transurfing, Zealend, Vadim Zealend. And that book helped me immensely in terms of my depression. And I started just kind of crawling out of the hole. And then I discovered, well, to cut a long story short, because I can speak for hours.
I like that
Um,
though.
I,
We got plenty of time. Don't
wow.
worry. Speak away. Speak away.
Well, anyways, so I started meditating. I don't remember exactly how I discovered. Well, I read some Eckhart Tolle's books, and then I discovered Joe Dispenza's work.
Yeah, let's go to Eckhart Tolle for a second. So Eckhart Tolle, what was that New Heavens, New Earth, or was that The Power Now? What
No,
was
the
the
first
book?
one was the power of now, I
Is there
think.
something in there that resonated with you?
It did at that point. There were things that I couldn't understand, but there were some things about being in the now, and I desperately tried to be in the now. I didn't manage, but I was trying.
So it was like
I
kind of
think
like
it was,
the character trying to be the noun, not so much coming from the
of
essence being the, yeah.
course,
Yeah.
the seeker. Yeah,
Yeah.
because at that point it was the only thing that existed.
Yeah.
Now it's different. There is the body, and it's a separate being. It's a smart being, but it's, you know, an
Yeah.
image or whatever you want to call it. And
Yeah.
then there is the being nobody nothing, but it experiences anyway. It is able to experience whatever it wants.
Right.
But at that point, it was the only thing, and the mind was dictating. You have to read this and follow the steps and stuff. But then there was something that, oh, my cat is trying to join us. And somehow it was not enough. It was good and something resonated. Maybe my first reading of the book didn't resonate, and I got back to it like a few months
Yeah.
later. But then I discovered Joe Dispenza's work, and it gave more to it. So everything that I had read by then just was summing up, you know, to the whole picture maybe. And with Joe Dispenza, I managed to experience, and I experienced opening my heart, which is also really important. And now this is the only spiritual organ that.
So you say Joe Dispenza, just so the audience know, you know, maybe just talk a little bit about Joe Dispenza and
Okay.
what you got from that.
I have never been to his events because there are people who think that you only have to attend them to benefit from them. And I think it makes sense because it's the environment which is helpful. It's not your, you know, regular environment where your, you know, your relatives, your husband, your children just distract you from concentrating on your intention.
Yeah.
But I thought that the one who wants it, you know, in Spanish they say querer es poder. If you want it, you can achieve it. And I felt so, you know, determined to get something out, like to get something from it, that I started meditating with his. Well, probably they were not even correct. I mean, I found some meditations online.
Oh.
They were like pirate meditations, I don't know, and maybe somebody invented it. But I did benefit from them because I just believed and I set that intention. And what I managed to feel, like the point when it took me like 4 months to start experiencing energy and love. And that very moment when I thought, it's not working, it's stupid, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I should be, you know, because, you know, like I teach Russian, I'm a teacher, I like science, and what's that? It's actually crazy. You're going crazy, girl. So just drop it. And that was the moment that I felt I was meditating at that point. And those were the thoughts just running around my mind, or I don't know, within my mind. And I thought, okay, I'm giving up. That's it. It's stupid. I'm crazy. I need to go to some, you know, special facilities probably because I can't do anything with this. And at that point, I felt gratitude. And I understood that gratitude is a state. It's not something that you should be grateful. You should keep your gratitude diary and that stuff. Yeah, this is what they teach us. But at that point, it was so involuntary. It just came out of my heart. And it was so, I couldn't resist it. And I understood that it's just a state. And I felt grateful for everything. And it was so sweet. And I said, please, 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 don't stop. I didn't want it to stop at all. And then that made me showing up, you know, made me show up again and again and again to keep meditating. And what
is that your kitty cat? Is that your cat? Is that your cat?
Yeah, it's her ear.
Oh, what's the name?
Tera. It's from Panther, Pantera in Spanish.
Oh, adorable.
Well, probably she will. Well, we're not going to force her.
She can join the conference. She can join the interview. That's fine.
Oh yeah, she loves people talking, and especially you know, spiritual topics.
She's just consciousness too, so we're all conscious. We're all the one conscious.
Yeah, definitely. it's beautiful how you can feel like the same consciousness in every living
Yeah,
being, and
like it's almost
especially
like I see it
animals.
everywhere. I see it in the animals. I see it in other people. I'm looking at you. I'm seeing consciousness like mirroring back to me, you know. It's like everything's
Exactly.
just one
Yeah.
consciousness taking shapes and patterns, and it's like
Yeah.
unity consciousness, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like mirrors. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Mirrors is your thing. I know.
Oh, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, you looked at my channel, huh?
Yeah. I did. I did. Well, a little bit, but still, I
Anything
got some
resonate with you
idea.
on there?
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah.
resonate?
Yeah. It's well, it's interesting that now I don't need to use this logical or critical thinking
Yeah.
to decide whether something is
You feel it energetically, right? Like, yeah. Or it
absolutely,
just resonates.
absolutely,
It just effortlessly. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Like
And
if you
this
feel,
is
I always say with people, like if it feels like expansive, then you know it's in alignment with your true nature. If you feel constricted or there's a lot of effort, that's probably not it. So it's just, you know,
exactly,
when you feel expansive. But don't
exactly.
continue on so Joe Dispenza, so you did that.
Yeah, I had some experiences, not that many of them. Like I used to watch his channel and people just sharing their testimonials
Yeah.
on their experiences, and I thought, I want that, but it never happened. But what did happen was just this feeling of expansion, and then that sweetness, which I think is called bliss.
Bliss, the bliss body.
And
Yeah.
bliss body, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I'm pretty ignorant in
No, you're
those
smart.
terms,
You're smart.
but well, it doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't
This is the
matter. There's
thing.
nobody here to be smart. No.
Exactly the best thing, because
There's no person
my
here.
parents, yeah, my parents wanted me to be perfect in everything and
Oh
smart and
yeah.
everything. And
Welcome to the club.
now, goodbye, I'm
Yeah.
free.
Freedom.
Freedom, total freedom. Yeah,
Freedom is the best
exactly.
feeling though, isn't it? It's the best feeling.
Absolutely. But you should be ready for that. As even as self-realized, I understood that probably people are really afraid of it.
Why do you
It's
think that
easier to
is?
swallow.
Why do you think that is?
Responsibility, using the human language.
Yeah.
I can't find a better way of putting that. But it's interesting to think about. I did experience that at some point, like just a few months after my self-realization, that it was quite a big thing to be ready to experience, because also it liberates so much joy and so much love that this device should be ready to receive that high frequency. And it
Yeah, like the nervous system, right? Yeah.
nervous system, exactly. And on the physical, on the body level,
Yeah.
it hurts at times, and I thought, but not everybody is ready for that. And I used to be such a depressed person. I know I was born like as a happy child,
Yeah. You seem so
ready to
happy
laugh.
now. You seem so happy now.
Well,
I can feel your joy and your happiness.
absolutely, but there is so much there. Sometimes I'm afraid of people around me that they won't understand it. But okay,
I
I'm
understand
not
you.
afraid.
I understand you.
Yeah, that was the feeling that I mean, with Joe Dispenza's meditations, that I would feel that expansion, and at some point everything became about. It was all about experiencing that again, like a drug addict.
Yeah, like you always like the next fix, the next experience. I need my next fix, the next experience.
Exactly,
Even
exactly.
self-realization. Can we even say that self-realization is just an experience, or do you think there's more to it?
Oh, well, sometimes I was thinking about it, because it's the language, yeah,
Yeah, I
that
know.
doesn't make justice. But sometimes we need to use certain accepted terms, commonly accepted.
Kitty cat.
Yeah, I'm sorry. She
No,
wants
don't
to
be
sit on
sorry.
the lap.
Kitty cat can join the
Yeah, say
conversation.
hi.
Yeah, of course.
Say hi.
Hello.
That's her.
Oh, yes, I can see
Yeah,
consciousness
like a
coming through.
typical witch cat.
That's so
Okay.
cool.
Oh, yeah, she's bipolar, but okay,
Oh,
duality,
oh, aren't we all?
But yeah, but in her heart, she is
Oh,
goddess. And so, what was I speaking about? Mm, Yeah, if it's an experience,
Yeah.
well, we can say that it happened at some point to me, but
Mhm.
I just felt what was within. Yeah, I
Mhm.
just felt what had always been.
Would you say self-realization happened when you like when do you remember the moment when it happened?
I do. And that was really interesting after listening to David Bingham's podcast about how he had self-realized. I decided just to repeat his steps. I listened to the same podcast. It was John Willis'
Yes.
podcast.
Yes.
Uh, and exactly the same thing happened to me. I fell asleep at first. I think David spoke about it as
Yeah, he
well,
did. Yeah.
about falling asleep. Yeah, but I think like really like charged information is difficult to be, it's difficult to process by the mind, especially by this limited calculator that we think is a computer, but it's a calculator,
Love that.
from the 80s.
I love that.
And I fell asleep, and I thought, I knew at that point, I already knew that, okay, I should do it again. And I got angry. I'm before that, I had sent a text message to my friend who knew about my search, and
Yeah.
I don't know if he really believed it or not, but he had always been really supportive. Anyways, thanks.
Mhm.
Thank you, Ian.
Yeah.
And
Shout out to
so
you.
I remember texting him saying, I know it will happen. And so the following day it happened. But how did it happen? I got angry and I thought, okay, I'm tired of listening to the same podcast over and over again. Again, I'm doing something crazy. Jesus, stop doing it. You're just a crazy woman, and you pretend, like you think you are a scientifically oriented person. You are not. You are just crazy. And let's go to bed. And I fell asleep. But well, as I was falling asleep, I adopted a strange, mm, pose or position in my bed, like this, and I
Mhm.
was just looking at my eyelids from within, like my closed eyelids. And this is when it happened. Like I could see my face as a mask, just as small like puzzle pieces that were shining, and suddenly they started disappearing into the darkness. And I would felt that movement away from that mask.
Mhm.
And it's when I felt that, oh, I'm not Alice. I'm nobody, and I know, and everything became clear. It was that like separation from it
Yeah,
in
it's
the
like
darkness,
falling back. Yeah. I hear a lot of people
falling
describe this
back.
like falling back. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
So
Like
you
finally,
saw through kind of saw through the separate self, right? The me and my story and the character, like this character
yeah,
like that.
exactly. And well, I didn't feel any compassion towards that being. It's like, well, not experienced. That knowing, like Abraham Hicks, they knowing in mm, their chart of different feelings.
Oh,
Yeah, like
the emotional scale.
exactly.
Yeah, Abraham Hicks talking
There
about,
is
yeah, she does the emotional scale where you can go like
exactly,
all the way from depression and then you go up the emotional
exactly,
scale, go to contentment, joy, bliss, and
exactly,
you kind of go up there. So there's that wide range of emotions.
exactly. When I first read it, I thought there is knowing, and I thought, but what does knowing
Mhm.
is doing? What does it do it there? Like, what is it?
Mhm.
What does it represent? Because knowing, it's like an intellectual thing. And at
Yeah,
that point, I understood that knowing can be a state.
right.
This is what happened to me. And that was so immense. And at the same time, feeling like nothing, like expansion, spaciousness. I understood Joe Dispenza's, meditations.
Yes.
Like as it stretches in all the directions, I was stretching all the directions, and I was just, knowing and consciousness. And I asked myself then, who am I? Me, just me. And I understood at that point, yeah, okay, Now I understand what they meant in their books, that you just exist and that's it.
Yeah,
You
no
are that you
label,
are.
no labels, no story, no
No
separation.
story. Yeah, yeah. And being connected to everything, and like I'm nothing and I'm everything at the same time.
Yes.
And that felt incredible. And that happened like 2 nights before our conversation with David. I actually wanted it to happen as a result of that conversation, but probably I wanted it that so much that it happened earlier.
Happened before the
Anyways,
conversation with David?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we talked, I explained the whole thing to him, and he
Yeah.
said, "Oh, yeah, it looks like it."
That's great. So what's life like after self-realization? So how have you integrated into like your everyday life? Like what do you do now? Like what's a typical day look like? Do you go back to work? Do you like how's your family
Um,
reacting? That kind of thing.
yeah, my family, well, only my sons know about it, but they're used to the crazy mother. Yeah, but so they were not surprised and said, "Okay, if it makes you happy, okay."
Yeah.
And I respect their freedom to live within their limitations. And if one day they feel like, looking for something else and trying to discover their true nature, they are free. And if they choose to stay less aware, let's put it that way, it's their experience. Because, well, what I understood, that there's nobody, to help. I remember as a seeker, I wanted to help everybody, to save the world. I
Right.
had that huge complex. I wanted to be a healer and that kind of thing. And this is what happened with Joe Dispenza's meditations, that I started feeling energy. I really started feeling energy in my hands.
Mm.
And now this manifests in my work, which is body therapy.
What is it?
Body therapy, well, massage,
Massage therapy. Yeah.
basically. Yeah, massage therapy. Yeah, let's put it that way. Or body work,
Body
whatever you
work. Yeah.
call it.
Body work. Yeah.
Yeah. It's something really new to me, because I have always taught Russian,
Uh-huh.
and now I feel that I should develop this part of my being, or my human experience, and maybe through this assist in assist in this experience of oneness that my clients might want to have.
Yes.
Because yeah, I thought, like, okay, I self-realize, and then I will teach again, save people, but probably it's not my path. I don't know. I have a channel, but
Oh, you do?
I don't.
You have a YouTube channel or?
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I think the diversity expresses itself even after self-realization, and we can take different paths, and maybe someone is better explaining things and offering some pointers.
Right.
And I'm happy to do that if someone decides to talk to me and ask me for some pointers.
Okay, I'm
But I
talking to
don't.
you. I want to talk to you. Give me some pointers. How would you point me to self-realization? I really want to know. Like I've been seeking all these years. Like I want to know. I want what you have. You're so happy and joyful. I want to wake up to this. What the truth is. Like what's really here. What's going on. I know I'm missing something. Can you help me out?
Okay. Well, I don't know if I can help you out. And
What can you do? No,
I will never promise any,
don't promise anything. Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
but
put a disclaimer up there first. Yeah.
yeah,
No
exactly.
expectations.
No expectations. But what I would like to talk about in this case is resistance and dealing with it. I think because I think resistance is the main problem, really.
Okay.
Not acceptance of the whole, because if you resist, you are already in duality. There is me and there is something that I don't like.
Yeah.
You just make the duality stronger.
Mm.
Learning to accept certain stuff makes two opposite ends of the same thing meet, and this is how oneness works for me from my point of view. How do we do that? I suggest, well, this is what was my way. I got there through allowing myself to experience pleasure, like little nice things that maybe even satisfactory, not really nice, but something that you are okay with right where you are. Because if you don't make peace with where you are right now, you will never get wherever you want to get. We're not talking about self-realization even, like about improving your life situation. Your life situation cannot improve if you're not satisfied with what you have right now. At least this is what happened to me, actually, with my houses, changing houses. And when I started appreciating my house before self-realization, the house that I didn't want to stay in, finally things happened in such an interesting way that I ended up in another place, living in a place where I had always dreamt of, living. And so I would stress upon the importance of focusing your attention on really nice and sweet things, simple things, real things, not that, oh, I have this beautiful family. It doesn't work normally, because if you're depressed, again, talking about the scale, Abraham scale, you should be a vibrational match to what you want. And it takes some steps, gradual steps towards what you want. And I made my way through feeling more and more satisfied with what I have. So probably I will talk about it. I always talk about this because this is what helps me. Because nowadays, the more you focus your attention, the bigger is the reflection of your pleasure. And now, this is what happens to me nowadays, that I just forgot about, all my, manifestation stuff, because I wanted to manifest a house in the mountains, and then having a horse, and probably it will happen someday. But now it doesn't matter at all, because you want stuff because you want to feel better, but you start feeling better before that. And sometimes the other day I even looked at the clock. It lasted for 30 minutes, that bliss state that was so overwhelming and so, I don't know, sometimes difficult to, to manage, because there's so much happiness. Do I do that? And you don't want to do anything else. You are just like that. Oh, so good. So what else do I need? And now
it's almost like the way I describe it, it's almost like you feel full, like you're already full, you're whole, and you're complete. And we're all manifesting anyway, but when you realize your true nature, that you're the infinite being and you're having this human experience, it's almost like you're already full and you're already whole. It's like this field of beingness that we all are, that all of us, even at this very moment, we're all remaining as the pristine infinite being, and we're all already whole and complete. And so whatever naturally manifests is what's going to be best for us as the one beingness, that all of us are. It's just that sometimes, like I actually go on Abraham Hicks cruises. I still do. Actually, I'm getting ready to go on one here in July. It's going to Amsterdam. We'll leave in. We're going to be. It's like July 4th, and then it's going to be like a 10, 12, whatever it is, 12-day cruise. And what I do is I meet people actually on the cruise ships. They book ahead of time through my website, and I'll do one-on-one, what I call mirror calls. So like I'll hold space with them like this, and then they'll talk to me about whatever it is they want to talk about, and I get kind of mirror back to them. But I also really try to point, like when I'm looking at them, I'm seeing them as whole, complete, and then like effortless being or consciousness will, reveal to them, whatever it is, their true nature or whatever. Because I'm viewing them as whole and complete. I don't see them as in lack. What I find, a lot of people when they're manifesting, they're coming from that space of lack, like I don't have this, I'm not whole and complete already, so therefore I need that car, I need that relationship, I need that house, I need that boat to make me feel, looking outside of themselves. There is no outside of yourself. You are everything. You are abundance. You are already whole and complete, and that's what's naturally manifests through. It's almost like it comes, it's unfolding automatically through you, like with no effort. It's like effortless being. So I do that on the cruise ships with people, and it seems like people in that community are really responsive to to self-realization because, you know,
Hmm.
they they're kind of in tune. It just seems like, at least that's the been my direct experience here.
But maybe because Abraham also teaches to reduce resistance,
Yes,
you
so when
know,
you were talking about
the
that, yeah.
effortless
Yeah, they
resistance.
do. Yeah,
So that,
resist. So they're not resistant to it. So they're open because that's like the first thing, really, right? Like usually people that are seeking, you know, it's usually something happens in their life. Maybe it's an illness, maybe it's a breakup, or somebody
yeah,
dies, or it's like,
yeah.
or they just feel like, or maybe they made all the money, like they did all these businesses, they worked hard, they made all this money and stuff, and then they found out, oh, even money doesn't make me happy. Like I did all these things, or maybe they think kids are going to make them have a family. I'll do everything the way the
Mm,
world says. I'll get married. I'll do this, and then they see, oh, that didn't work either. Like that didn't bring me. I always felt like like people would tell me, like, because I do a lot of calls. They say, oh, I feel this sense of lack. Um, so usually something happens there where they'll start going on a search. Well, there has to be something better than this, right? And so then they start searching, right? So maybe in the, you know, in the manifesting world, like people that are like law of attraction, stuff like that, they want to
uh-huh.
better their lives. And so they'll, like you were saying, like they'll try to raise their vibration to try to match, you know, what's out here. So it'll
Hmm.
mirror out to the
Hmm.
world, all that kind of stuff. Um, but the only trick with that is sometimes people are doing it from lack, and so then it's always whenever they're manifesting has that tinge of fear in it or lack in it.
Exactly.
So they're always wanting the next thing, and that's not really where the fulfillment comes from. The fulfillment comes from, you know, knowing what you truly are, you know, knowing what your true nature is, and that comes back to, instead of looking out there, it's just like bringing it back into here and, you know, looking at what am I really, you know, what is this that's here. When I see that what's outside of me, you know, there's no, like if I go to look for Rob, there's no Rob here that's broken or limited. Like it's just a series of thoughts that's here in this space of beingness, this permanent space of awareness, of consciousness that's here. And it's almost like when you realize what you're not, like I'm not like just this physical body, I'm not those thoughts, you know, I'm the actual space, you know, the aware space where all the
Hmm.
thoughts are coming and going, but I've always remained as the permanent open space of
Hmm.
beingness the whole time. And so when you're coming from that place of wholeness, like your no thing, like you said, is you're formless with no body, but you're everything in that everything, even everything that's taking shapes and sizes, all the forms, it's all consciousness and it's all mirrors, it's all you in that respect. It's almost like, so it's all whole and complete. It's unity consciousness, almost like you're experiencing yourself through all of this. That's just
I understand you.
that's just what's been seen here. So it's almost like self-realization, you know, is just seeing that, you know, that clear seeing of how reality is, the clear seeing of what your true nature is, like knowing what you truly are, that you're not just limited to this human being, that you are the infinite being, you're the one infinite being where
Hmm.
everything comes and goes. You're the space of beingness, the consciousness. And these are all pointers for people to look into their own experience. So it doesn't really matter. I always say like direct experience is king. Like you need to look for this in your direct experience and see it for yourself. Once you see it,
Hmm.
then you know you have that clarity. It becomes clear. Then almost like like you can relax and know that there's really nothing serious going on. I love the way David does the koshas, how he talks about the five bodies when he talks about, you know, we're
Hmm.
all remaining
Hmm.
as the attributeless beingness,
Hmm.
you know, the whole time. Although you can, like consciousness can go into, you know, the body of bliss where there's awareness of the bliss body. And then from there, you know, you can go into effortless being or the wisdom body where everything's just known automatically and everything's arising effortlessly and equally, you know, in this space of
Hmm.
beingness. It's coming and going. And that's a really good place to be because you're in that state of neutrality. So even for the emotional scale, it's almost like you're playing with being neutral all the way up to joy and bliss and all of that. And you can kind of put up you know, you can kind of like set yourself like in that range because as the sovereign being that we all are, we can put you know, different what do you want to say, barriers? I don't want to say barriers, but you can you know, set it up how you want. Like you can make your everyday life enjoyable. Boundaries, that's what I was gonna say. You can put up different boundaries, but you can you know, make your everyday life joyful and happy and you can, like you said, put your attention on that and not have the resistance, like just let go, because there's really no person here to have the resistance, because that's one of the things I first saw with self-realization. Like there's no separate person here. And once you realize that, it kind of eliminates a lot of this. You kind of taken out a lot of thoughts and a lot of beliefs that people have. It's almost like it's really radical, way to look at the world compared to the mainstream, I would say, how the mainstream is looking at the world.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's quite like that. And what you said about you working of sorts with people, yeah, when you go to, especially to
Yes.
those gatherings, this reminds me of what I experience when I touch people.
Mm,
It's exactly the same experience, but through hands,
love that.
silence and just
Yeah, you can
hands.
really feel, yeah.
That's really
It's a
interesting
healing
how
almost. Yeah, yeah.
people,
It's like, yeah, they can feel the energy coming through, I'm sure.
yeah, and they feel better within their bodies because
Yes.
they are in conflict with their bodies as well. So there's resistance on all levels.
Yeah, especially
And
like if you only think that you are your body, and that's one of the things with that people
absolutely.
get caught into. Like they think they're just this body, but not realizing that this is just,
Hmm.
like a tool that we use to navigate in the dualistic world. But we're so much more than that. We're the pristine infinite being, the formless beingness, where everything comes
Hmm.
and goes. And it's impersonal.
Hmm. Right. And does it happen to you that you can tap into other, well, people's, or let's say like other, mm, like energy focus of the being, let's put it that way, or other person's state? Because
Yes.
in my case, it became so intense that sometimes I would keep, well, it doesn't sound really like that. Well, like keeping away from, like, or maybe preferring, like, I prefer staying out there. I'm sorry. That
Okay.
is
Hello,
my.
kitty cat.
I mean,
Like you're in
like,
tune with the
I'm like
energy,
a
you mean? You're in tune with people's energy, like intuitive that way?
sense now that probably I'm still in my integration process. This is what I also understand, and probably I'm still looking for this balance between this infinite energy and this illusory but still really smart suit that I have to wear now.
This
That
costume,
also
this
this
costume you're wearing?
costume, this
Yeah.
costume, yeah, it's trying to convince me that, yeah, it is me, or I'm it.
Yeah, you're not it. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
the body is just a tool. We're everything, and so to speak, but you're so much
yeah,
more than just your body. You're the formless beingness. Body
absolutely.
comes and goes. When the body drops, the true you is always here, is infinite consciousness that you are.
Yeah. And well, and sometimes you talk to people and it's obvious what they like. You cannot read their thoughts, but you understand their state and you understand their intentions
Yes.
sometimes.
It's also you
And
got to
sometimes,
meet them where they are. Like when I'm talking to people, like I don't just come out and talk to them how I'm talking to you, because you've realized your true nature. But if I'm talking to somebody else, I just meet them wherever they are. Like there's this one man,
mhm.
he called me up, and he was going through chemotherapy, he had cancer, and when I'm looking at him though, like I would just hold the space, like I'll meet you right where you are. I just,
Mhm.
I hear what you're saying. It's got to be painful.
Mhm.
You mirror that back to them, and you acknowledge people, where they're at, because the infinite being accepts everybody no matter, where they're at, whatever, everything's welcome. There's no
Mhm.
resistance, there's no judgments. Anything can be in this space of beingness. We can be with it. But when I looked at him, like I'm just looking, from the essence, from consciousness, and consciousness sees
Mhm.
everyone as whole and complete. And you see them in their health, you see them in their
Mhm.
wholeness. And
Mhm.
so you kind of reflect that back to them. And I just looked at him, and, I held him in that space of love, and seeing him not as what he was pretending to be, with, believing the thoughts and believing he was just this
Mhm.
body, not realizing he was so much more than just whatever this body was, or whatever the mind was labeling, was happening to him. So when I looked at him, I could see him in that. And I just, I acknowledged everything he said, but at some point something came through and I just said to him, I see you in your wholeness. I
Mm,
see you playing baseball with your friends, like I see you healthy and whole
mm.
and complete. And he's like, you see me as healthy? You see me as whole. And then you could see
You
him
are
like, he
healthy.
was like, what, he had all that relief on him, like, wow, like, because the doctors are telling him, you're just this body and, you're going to
Oh
die.
yeah.
And people thinking, at death, that, that's the end of everything. They're not realizing that there's so much more than
Yes.
just this body. So imagine like the fear a lot of people, go through when they're attached, to just the body, not realizing there's
Yeah,
so much
you
more.
just focus on their healthy being, like their
Yes.
core being, yeah, source.
Yeah, I see them as whole and complete, as as the infinite being would see them. The infinite being sees
Exactly.
everything as fine, like because consciousness itself, like we were talking about the koshas, when it goes into the different bodies, it's never harmed by anything. So if it goes into the bliss body,
Yeah.
effortless being, if it goes into the emotional body, the mental body, the physical body,
Hmm.
it's never hurt. Consciousness is never hurt by any of it. It's never hurt by it. It's just
Hmm.
the human experience.
Exactly.
We're still having the human experience though. So of course we want to make the human experience the best we can make it,
Hmm.
and in alignment with our true nature. And as consciousness, we can do that. We can align each day to make it as fun, enjoyable, and as, you know, as our true nature is. We have the power to do that. You can be, do, or have anything you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah, actually, Kim, I'm coming
Absolutely.
out with this book. The same being we're talking about. It's called "The Mirror is the Medicine." The mirror is the
Uh-huh.
medicine. How to help others heal without fixing them. Just exactly what we're talking about. And I just in the book I talk about
Fantastic.
how working with people is you reflecting their true nature back to them, and you're seeing them as whole and complete. And because I talk to a lot of therapists and psychiatrists and psychologists, and a lot of them, what they'll do
Oh,
is they'll view the person, like they'll look at you and say, "You're broken. I have to fix you." You know what I'm saying? They take on that
exactly.
identity instead of holding them in that space of love and beingness and wholeness and completeness. When you're coming from that space, it's like consciousness heals them. It's nothing I'm doing or the doctors are doing. It's consciousness, or the stillness is really what's doing the healness, because people are waking up to what they truly are. They're not just this broken little person. They're the infinite. I see everyone as the infinite being. Like I see you as the pristine infinite being looking back at me. Although there's no really no looking back. It's
Hmm.
one
Hmm.
consciousness. That's how I
And
experience you.
as beings deserving that, deserving health, deserving self-realization, deserving happiness, because I think it's also a big
Yeah.
problem nowadays that
Yes.
people think they don't deserve,
Yes.
that they're not enough.
Yes, that's so true. I hear that a lot. A lot of people say that. And that can be a hindrance to self-realization. So if there's anyone out there
Absolutely.
seeking, that's something you want to think about. Like, how do I view myself? Like, can I view myself as the sovereign being? You are good enough. You are whole. You are complete. We're all equal. I'm not better than anybody else. I'm same as everybody else. We're all the same. It's all equality, and everyone is worthy. Just the fact that you're breathing and you're conscious, that qualifies you right there.
Mhm.
There's nothing more to say. You are the pristine infinite being, and you deserve that. No matter what, society will tell them, oh, you did all these bad things. That's just all mind stuff, because the mind, doesn't want you to realize your true nature. The thoughts don't. And it's all the conditioning. There's so much conditioning we've had in this world,
Yeah.
growing
Yeah.
up. You probably think about when you were a kid, the teenagers, all the
Yeah.
conditioning that you had from society, from school, from families telling you you're not good enough. A lot of religions are that way too. They'll tell you, you're a sinner and you got to do all these things to be whole and complete. Everybody's viewing you as telling you you're broken. It's like all this conditioning that's on top of this silent, pristine, infinite being that's already whole and complete, that's here, and it's all that's on there. So when you see through it, that helps. But you're
Yeah.
right, like a lot of it has to do with how you see yourself. Do you see yourself as
Mhm.
worthy? Everyone is worthy.
Yeah. Compared to others and not to our advantage very often. So yeah, this is what we have. But I think it's also like a special design of the game, to make it more dramatic.
Yeah, it's a consciousness playing. It is playing a game. It's playing a game of hide and seek, or I kind of view it like, like this is like the screen of consciousness, and it's like a movie playing, and it's like this dramatic. could be this dramatic movie playing, and like you said, the full range of emotions on the emotional scale, and these
Yeah.
stories are playing out. It's almost like it's like kind of like a mental projection, like a mental movie going on here, and it's doing like all these stories, but it's all playing on the screen of consciousness. But when the projector shuts off, it's still just that screen of consciousness. It's not hurt by any
Exactly.
it's not hurt by the movie that's playing. So it's almost like entertainment in a way.
Absolutely. I
So you might
had
as well
that
make it a fun.
experience.
I like funny movies, so I'm just gonna make my movie funny and fun. I'm gonna have
Comedy.
a fun, funny movie. So that's why I like to travel and do stuff. Like I just have fun with my life. You know what I mean? Because I
Yeah,
don't I
because
don't
there's
take
nothing
anything. There's
else
nothing
left to do.
serious going on. There's nothing serious, really not. Like.
Yeah. What's the point?
Yeah. So
Being
just have
serious.
fun with your life. You can design each
Yeah.
day that way, but you know.
It's such a liberation to know that, right? Like you can do whatever you want and you make it
Yeah.
fun. Again, yeah, we were taught like you should be serious, you have
Yes.
to achieve a status and certain material
Yeah, you have
stuff.
to. Yeah, you have to better yourself, like self-improvement. Like, oh, you're not good enough. You have to keep improving to be your best self.
Right.
What you are isn't good enough. But well, we all are. We're all whole and complete already. We're all imperfection. We're perfect. Like because we're consciousness. We're the personal, formless beingness, the creator of the experience. So, you know, it's not personal. It's impersonal beingness that's here, and it's just that these bodies we've identified and separated them out of the space of beingness, and we put this story on it and said that it needs something more, that it's in lack or whatever it is. So if we can see through the conditioning, how much freedom people would have. I
Oh
feel
yeah,
so much freer now.
exactly.
You feel that way?
I do,
I can tell.
absolutely.
Yeah, I can
And I
tell you
think
seem.
it pardon?
I said I can tell you seem so happy and free.
Well, I don't know. I don't even care how other people see me. Well, but I mean, I'm not trying to produce any impression anymore, and this is the main
Yeah.
liberation for me personally, because
Hmm.
it used to be like that in the past that you had to produce an impression, and it
Yeah,
was
like you
such
couldn't be
a
authentic. You couldn't just be your real self, right? Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely silly. Maybe you can think I'm silly, for example. Okay, you're free to do that. It's like you respect other people's freedom.
Well, yeah.
Again,
Yeah. Yeah.
people is relative, but still, like other beings' freedom to play with whatever thoughts they want to
Yeah.
play.
Sure. Believe whatever you want. Go on whatever ride you want to go on.
But I mean, like in my case, it was such a high level of control. I mean, I tried because if we try to seem perfect or whatever impression we want
Yeah.
to give out to the world, it's as if we were trying to control their perception of us.
Yes. The image,
Like,
right? You keep that image up. Yeah.
right, but it's like I don't allow them to think the way they want to think about me or to see me the way they want to see me,
Now you
right?
don't care, right? You're like, whatever.
Right, but I mean,
Cares what
it
they
was
think.
yeah, but I mean, I allow that finally, I allow that freedom that other people
Yes.
might have because in the past I understood that I was pretty passive aggressive in a way as well, and
Huh?
like within myself as well, because it's pretty egoic to expect them like I have to be a good person and they want to like you act as a good person and you want them to see you as a good person and God forbid I act in a different and they might be disappointed, but it's this controlling mind. It's trying to control not only my being myself but other people's minds. It's pretty, I don't know, not aggressive. There must be some cruel, well, not cruel, I don't know, I can't find a word for that. I mean, well, it's not freedom, it's resistance. Again, you resist.
Whoever you resist persists,
Yeah.
right?
True, it's true.
Let the resistance go.
Exactly. So yeah, I do feel a lot of joy and happiness, and there are really hard days from human perspective.
Yeah, from the human. Yeah, of
I think
course.
my
Yeah, like,
life became
yeah. I say a lot of people talk about spiritual bypassing. Like a lot of people think, oh, when you're self-realized, then you're just like blissed out all the time. Let's tell the real story.
really.
Let's tell the real story.
No way. No, that's still the, yeah, this is it. As a seeker, you think about self-realization just in a
Yeah,
different way. You have
right.
no idea.
Yeah. I have
And
people tell me
there's
all the
no
time,
way.
like you think once you realize it, then you're just going to be blissed out all the time. And that's not the case. You still feel the full range of
No,
emotions can be here. It's just okay. The difference is you're just not personalizing them anymore. It's not personal.
absolutely.
So when they're not as personal, it's okay for everything to be here.
Absolutely.
And you
You
can
just
feel,
dissociate from the body. Well,
yeah,
you just observe it from a distance. It does
yeah.
its things. And it happened to me like I could just literally, well, not see, but feel my mouth saying some nonsense. And I was like, what was that? Like the body is just living its life.
Yeah,
And I can't do anything about it. And I don't care again. Like,
right.
okay, trying to fight for, for being taken seriously.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, but it's not going to work. But I think it's also slower in its vibration and it has to keep up with the spirit, so to speak. And maybe there is this gap and it makes it a little bit vulnerable. But well, okay, we'll see. It will get adjusted, I know. And
Yeah,
yes, in your life,
your intuition seems like it's been there for you the whole time, guiding you, and your intuition will continue
yeah,
to regulate
it's
things
true.
and help you through,
It's true.
it's always there.
It's always there, but there are times that you don't allow yourself to trust it because of the
Yeah.
conditioning. And now, you listen just to your internal voice and any difficult situation because it's really different from what we expect it to be, and probably we are not ready for that kind of events and that level of stress. And using human language.
Yes.
Um, that takes place afterwards, but it's a whole another perception and perspective. And you can deal with it, and you know that everything works out for me, it's working out for me like the best way, the best possible way. And yeah, that's really interesting. And I think this change is inevitable because some old patterns should be destroyed. I think it's inevitable, and then something that you want it to be can be built.
That's
This is
beautiful.
it.
What would you
At
say
least
to
this is
people
how I feel.
that are watching that are they learn their true nature and they're getting ready to, they want to integrate it into their everyday life, or anything you want to say about that?
Could you repeat your question? Let's make sure I
Yeah,
understood
like
you correctly.
like after you realize your true nature, we
Mhm.
feel like you feel like that bliss state, and you're feeling really good. But then then you wake up, one day you realize, well, I got to go back to work, or I got to deal with everyday life. Any pointers, to help people like through that
Mm,
transition, like going, because like you said, it's like a different perspective now that you have, right?
yeah, it's really interesting because, yeah, you don't want to sell yourself as you used to. You don't want to do that boring thing unless you liked it before.
Right.
Because
Unless you like it. Right.
I still like teaching, but I know that, well, it has always been like that, actually,
Yeah.
that I can't do things that, or for a long time. I can just accept for a limited period of time doing something maybe for the sake of money or whatever my situation is.
Yeah.
But if I don't like it, I can't stay there for long.
You can't,
That
yeah, I
has
know.
always been like that.
I can understand that. I definitely relate to
Yeah.
that. That's so
Oh,
true.
that's great.
Yeah.
But so probably that freedom, that obsession with freedom was already manifested long ago. But nowadays, I think it becomes really important because since you become your true nature, you cannot be false. You cannot cheat
Yeah,
on it in a
right.
way.
It's authentic, right?
Yeah, and you have to find something that really is fulfilling. And that's why I'm just studying massage nowadays and just trying to improve my techniques. But I think, again, it's not going to be. Now I work as a massage therapist. like in offering some classic, way of treatment. But I think this is what my intuition tells me, that I'm going to develop my own way of dealing with it. And I think it's important to find something that you really like and enjoy, and something that makes you live your newly recovered freedom and joy.
Love
and
that.
It's immense energy, because otherwise it doesn't make sense, because there can be that point of, I remember that some people speaking about having depression after self-realization, and I couldn't understand that. Like, I watched, I think David's interview with someone, but I don't remember who it was. And they spoke about some depression. I couldn't understand that. And not that long ago, I had an episode, like for a couple of months, that I thought, oh, nothing makes sense. Like, nothing makes sense. Okay, so what's the point? And I thought that probably that was it. And then I understood, no, it's just this gap between the body consciousness, which is pretty limited, the calculator, and this unlimited space. And so it's just a question of time of the body keeping up and achieving a higher, vibration, let's put it that way. And then I think when you learn to balance it, I think it's going to be a perfect union, because we shouldn't reject the body and the minds and the ego, because they are still there as long as we are wearing the costume, right?
Consciousness is projecting, wearing the costume.
Absolutely. But as long as it's there, then oneness again is about accepting every bit of your experience. So, and then it should work in one direction, and it's about something that you really feel passion for, and what
Love
makes
that.
you
happy. I love what you say too about like accepting what is. There's no sense in fighting what is. That's like insanity. Like whatever is you want to be, accepting of it, and make friends. I always say, like, make friends with reality, make friends with what's here. It makes for a much better ride in the human experience.
Absolutely. Reality and the unknown, as Joe Dispenza says as well, because you never know what comes next. Well, you can program it from your perspective, but again, it's also fun, because I don't feel like I need really.
You don't feel what?
I mean, I don't feel I need to, because I used to feel I wanted to manifest certain way of
I don't feel that
life.
need either. I don't feel that.
Like,
because you're already feeling whole and complete because it's what you are inside, because that on the outside none of those things make you it's your happiness. You're so full and whole and complete in knowing what you truly are as the infinite being, that there's some kind of it's like you're feeling like this fullness, this contentness, that you don't have this need to be out there manifesting this or that, because you feel like you have it already.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. This is what I can perceive from you. This wholeness. It's like
it's full.
It's
like this whole space is full. Like,
absolutely.
It's all within you.
Yeah, the fullness of life, as they say, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And I remember my mind used to get me, to watch something, and some distractions, alcohol, or that kind of stuff, watching some drama or thrillers and stuff. Now I can spend like hours looking at a flower, and I couldn't understand it. Like, how can you look at a flower and enjoy looking at this?
It's funny you say that, because a lot of people I talk to, they tell me, like, after self-realization, I've experienced this too, where it's like the ordinary becomes extraordinary. You could just be sitting there having a cup of coffee. It's like, look at this little body doing its thing. Look how adorable the character Rob is. Look how he picks up the coffee and drink. It's like ordinary things are extraordinary now. It's like, whoa.
Absolutely ordinary. Yeah, exactly. I remember looking at the heel of someone's shoe, and suddenly that heel just transported me into the state of bliss, and I was like,
oh my goodness.
This is how it happens. And then you think, if you have this, I remember we had an exam at one of the courses on massage,
Yeah.
And my classmate, like the final exam, and everybody was nervous. And I was experiencing that bliss at that point. I don't remember what had happened to make me feel that, but I was so happy again for no reason. And she said, "Do you mind me asking, what do you smoke?
What do you smoke?
What do you smoke? You look
Oh,
so
like,
calm
yeah.
and relaxed." Well, I said, "Well, the weed is cheap in my case, you know, it's here."
So funny. One time I was like when I first got self-realized I was doing deliveries and they have cameras in the trucks and the manager called me in the back, the two managers, and they're like, I'm sorry, Rob, but we're watching you on the cameras. You just look way too happy. There's nobody could be like this happy, like laughing all day long. It's just sorry, it can't be. You got to be on drugs or something. So they go and they send me for this
Exactly.
drug test. And I guess the guys at the office they're betting, yeah, well, let's see if he gonna do it or not. And they came back and it was like fine. They're like, we don't understand. Like, how can you just be happy? I go, I'm just happy for no reason. I don't know. Like, because that's how I am. Like, it was the
Yeah,
funniest. It was the funniest thing. It was like that it happened to me.
yeah, but
They
it
sent me for a drug
happens.
test because I was too happy, and they found out it wasn't because of that. I was just happy for no reasons. They were like, "Oh man, we swore that you had to be doing something because nobody could be that happy." Can you
And yeah,
imagine?
how do you explain that?
Yeah,
Yeah, but there's
there's
no way
no
to
real
explain.
reason. It's just
And you say, "I don't care." Like I was.
I just laugh with them. Like, sorry you lost your money.
Oh my
Like,
God.
and I just continued on driving around the truck with the radio, just popping around, like listen to the
Oh,
tunes,
yeah,
just having
it's
fun,
like that.
just like I don't know, I just find like I have self-realization. It's just things just aren't as serious. And it's just like I'm just more like lighthearted, like effortless. It's not like all this effort and striving and goals. It's just like everything's unfolding effortlessly. And I'm
Mhm.
just like going with the flow, listen to my intuition. If it feels expansive, follow whatever joy there is, fun there is, and that's just the way I am. So I just like, I just do things that I like each day, going for a walk in nature, walking the dog, whatever it is, having a cup of coffee on the deck, like, reading something, looking at a funny video. I don't know, like just having fun, traveling, like all that kind of stuff. And then I
Okay.
like talking. I do like expressing this though, like through the YouTube channel, like having these interviews with people. It's fun. I'm meeting people like all over the world, which is
Yeah.
cool. Like I really like that. Like David's like
Mhm.
introduced me to a lot of cool people, like a lot of people in that community,
Mhm.
and that's been really fun. It's like almost like my
Mhm.
other family I have here. That's how I feel. I love the community.
Mhm.
He does talks to, I don't know if you know, but he has a on his channel too. Like he's doing he does monthly group calls, like a community calls on his website. He's been
Mhm.
doing that. I don't know if you're
Mhm.
aware of that or not, but that's another form of community that's out there as well. But yeah, I really like David
Nice.
Cook. I would listen to The Greatest Secret with Rhonda Byrne.
Mhm.
I don't know if you ever heard that. I think
Mhm.
you did. You've heard that book, right? Yeah, The
Yeah,
Greatest
yeah.
Secret.
Thanks to that, I discovered.
David, right? Yeah. Yeah. When he said, you are the infinite being having a human experience, at that point, that's when everything shifted for me. Like the separate self dropped away. And I realized, I am the infinite being, not Rob's the infinite being, but kind of Rob I saw through as a separate, as a character that wasn't real. And it was just,
Mhm.
at that point is when I realized, my true nature of what I truly was. And I just had sent him an email and we had went back and forth. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're self-realized. You realize your true nature." And then he asked me to do this interview for Nothing Media. So I did an interview there, and through that interview, people started contacting me, and that's how the whole YouTube channel, got started and everything like that.
Wow,
But it's been fun
that's
because I'm
awesome.
meeting all like the best part of it is just like talking to people like you. Like I have friends like all over the world now, and I love and it just I like it. Something wants to express from here, so that expresses, which is it feels good to express this self-realization because I just felt like, prior to self-realization, like I can kind of relate to what seekers are going through, all those years of seeking, wanting something better, not understanding reality, what's going on here.
Mhm.
I just, and then you realize your true nature and you have a clear seeing of what reality is, there's like this peace that's always here in the background and this joy and this clarity I should say, or this clear seeing. And I want that for everybody, like if that's what consciousness wants to do. So whatever wants to
Right.
express, it's like it's not like the person wants it, like the mind might come in and want that, but it's not, it's like it's coming from consciousness wanting to, to
Hmm.
express
You
through.
can't
So
resist it, yeah? You
yeah,
feel just
like it wants to
the.
wants to express. So I just, let it express.
Mm,
But
mm,
there's no like agenda or somebody or I have to have these results, or it's none of that. It's just whatever
mm,
effortlessly wants to speak from beingness. So I just kind of just drop down into beingness, and whatever presence wants to come through, it kind of just comes through, almost like channeling it through, like it just expresses itself, whatever
mm,
consciousness wants to do.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I can feel it. That's beautiful. I just can feel it in my heart now. Well, you live your true life now then. And yeah, this is what you feel like
Mhm.
doing. Because even though you feel like there's nobody and nobody can be saved.
Right. No one needs to be saved because there's no person here to be saved.
Right. But at the same time, there's love that should be
There's
expressed.
just some kind of love here that expresses, yeah, that just wants to express.
But if you don't do it, it explodes. And
Almost
you
like
don't know.
it's like there's nobody here to control it. It just kind of just does it. It's like I would say it's like lifing. Like life's just lifing. It's
Mm.
just
Oh, I love that.
lifing
Yeah.
for no one, which is kind of,
Yeah.
there's so many paradoxes, with words. And I always like to use the amnesia pointer. Like if everyone just had amnesia right now, what's here?
Mhm.
Just this presence, beingness. It's whole, it's complete, it doesn't need anything. And if you ask questions about this beingness, can it get sick? Can it die? You know, does it have any problems? Like,
Yeah.
you know?
I know I did have this question like a couple of months ago. And if this happens, if nobody remembers anything, what? What is there?
Like what's here? Like it's almost like if like right now in this moment, like if you were to just drop all your thoughts about yourself, all your past
Hmm.
history, all your
Hmm.
stories that you have about yourself, your likes, your dislikes, if you just took all of that and just put it aside and just become open and empty right here, right now. What's this? What's this emptiness, this aliveness, this awakeness? And that's where self inquiry starts from there. And then it's like,
Hmm.
well, what is this space of beingness, this presence?
Hmm.
When was it born? Does it have a name? Can it get sick? I don't know. Like, that's like you kind of know intuitively the answers.
Yeah. It feels so full now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do believe it's really helpful for people who are seeking because, well, when I started my channel and even before self-realization, I thought that like I thought as a seeker, I needed that and that and that information, and now I can share it. And then after self-realization again, I thought about seekers and that probably they needed, but then I thought, okay, let's wait a little bit because we're still integrating. So and we'll see what happens. And I think that in this case, again, the diversity of the creation, so to speak, is incredible. And after self-realization, we also follow different paths, even though we stick to the same truth. Well, we represent the same truth. We are the same truth. But again, this beauty of different approaches, maybe the way you work with people, yeah, and probably the way I will be working with people. I still think that it's going to be through hands, through my hands or Alice's hands.
Yeah, you just follow your intuition. Your intuition will guide you.
Yeah, yeah.
And usually I find it's whatever comes natural to you. Like people are like, well, write a book. How could you
Exactly.
write a book? To me, it's like it just kind of flows through, or having conversations or doing interviews with people. It's no big deal. Like, it's whatever becomes effortless or natural to you. That's your gift, So for you, it's your hand. That's to me, like doing the hands down. I'm like, I don't know if I could do like someone like you, it's your natural ability that consciousness is giving you to do. So then, whatever feels effortless, whatever is easy, whatever, brings value to people like that. And that's what you're doing. And then you can, like you said, you can express consciousness through that, through that in that way. So consciousness expresses itself. There's no one way. There's all kinds of ways. And it'll use whatever gifts you have to do whatever it wants to do. But the main thing is just making yourself available and staying open, with everything spontaneous, there's no like, I'm going to do this the rest of my, it's all just whatever, just staying open and spontaneous. Whatever wants to happen here is, whatever wants to come through, comes through, and we allow it and we get out of the way, and lifing, like I say, life's lifing. I like that.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't mind me using it.
Of course, use it. It's not mine. There's no mind here. Whatever.
So
your channel, so you talk to seekers on your channel, your YouTube channel?
well, I tried to talk to them, but again, I got that another period of, balancing, and I've been quite away from it and quite absent again.
Huh?
But yeah, we'll see what happens.
There's different ways to express. Yeah, there's different ways to express whatever, whatever
Yeah, I
feels
just don't want to force it.
No,
Yeah, I
don't.
understand that the mind is trying to interfere again. You should do that. No,
No,
my dear.
that's not, yeah, your intuition will know. It'll
No.
feel ease, effortless. It'll feel like the
Absolutely.
next logical step, So, don't discount the value that you're doing now is very helpful. So it's just as good as anything else. So,
Yeah,
consciousness
yeah.
will express it however it wants, and the way it's doing it for you is fine.
Right. Oh, well, now the feeling is that I'm still in it, in this process, and there's no hurry, so no rush.
Yeah, and don't ever
So
discount yourself, there's no one better than you out there, like we're all the same, like,
absolutely.
have that confidence, that inner confidence, because you are the pristine infinite being, so you can feel that inside. There's, that confidence, that inner confidence. Don't let anything, lower that. Let the mind or the thoughts tell you that you're not, it's not true. Not true. You are the pristine infinite being.
Right. Well, I'm waiting for this natural feeling. It has to be natural, as you say. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Now I'm still exploring this.
Yes, follow your intuition.
Yeah. This is what I'm doing. And the good thing about it is that, okay, there's no time, there's no
there's no
limit,
time. Yeah. It's all fine. Everything's allowed. It's all as well.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to express anything else you want to say about self-realization or awakening or
love
anything
to
else?
everyone. I just feel so much love towards the world and beings. Sometimes I will walk along the street and just embrace, mentally, not physically, because I know I might be misinterpreted.
That's probably good, yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes you see someone and you can't help, just embracing them mentally.
Yes.
Holding them. Sometimes, even with my seekers, people who contacted me, sometimes I feel that it's not that you need to give them some wisdom. I don't know. There's nothing. What wisdom can I give them? I feel that what they really want is to feel like this abandoned child or the child that didn't get enough love. They just want to feel loved and accepted and soothed. And this is it. And this is what I can feel. I can flow towards them through this body.
Yes,
And
that's beautiful. That's our true nature is love, unconditional love, and just
yeah,
holding somebody in that space of love and seeing them as love and holding them that way
yeah,
is beautiful.
exactly.
That's it right there. That's what it's all about.
As someone deserving that, actually, because this is the main block that they bring very often. It's that they doubt themselves. They like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. There is no right thing. There
Mhm.
is the way of your heart, and that's
Right.
it.
Follow the way your heart, and everyone deserves it. There's
Yeah,
no one that doesn't. We're all consciousness.
absolutely,
We're
absolutely.
all the one consciousness, expressing in different ways. And all is allowed and all is accepted. And there's no one better than anyone else. There's no hierarchy. All is deserving.
Yeah, these are the words I would like to hear as a seeker. So now someone can hear that and
Yeah,
feel better.
that's great. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And this was a great conversation. And
Thank you
it's
for
wonderful.
having
Thank you
me.
so much for taking the time out and doing it.
I really enjoyed it.
Yes, good. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Lots of love. Bye.